Hello everybody and welcome to Professional Commentary. My name is Phil and this is the Stanley Parable. An interesting little gem you can find on the old Steam store. There's no real words for this, it's just really an interesting developmental story-driven funny game, but also quite serious in parts. You'll get to see it as we go along. Let's begin the game. Loading. The end is never. The end is never. The end is loading. The end is never loading? The end is loading never. Well, apparently according to my PC, because it's not loading. Are you gonna load that PC? Or are you gonna? I'm literally holding my finger to the ball. Oh, it's moving! It's moving! I can tell because it went across my finger. And it stopped. Poop. And we're in!
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Until...
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
And this is me now. My name is Stanley. Hello. Basically that's the whole point of this game so far, is you can basically... Ooh, I can crouch. Can I can't jump on... I can't crawl underneath the desk. Basically, my name is Stanley. I follow whatever the narrator says, or more technically, I can. I don't need to if I don't want to. I could literally just sit here in my desk, staring at the screen the entire time. The interesting thing is, the narrator will continue narrating, even with me doing that. But this is not the point of the game. So we'll move on! 429. Hello? Hello? Nope.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Indeed,
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Indeed. 430. Alrighty. Nothing further. Can I close the door? I cannot close the door. What's in here? LOL! I can't go in there. It's not for me. I'll be efficient. I'll close the computer. Open any of the doors? Nope. Nothing whatsoever. Okay. Wham!
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Am I? Game? Am I really? Also, close the door. Open up! I'm gonna enter the right one.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
That's not the employee lounge. This is the employee lounge.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been
So
worth
admirable.
the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley
Immaculate.
simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Oh, it's captivating stuff, isn't it? This is why you watch this. Yep, this is why you watch this.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality.
Ah,
It's possible that this is why everyone left.
okay. I'm getting a bit passive-aggressive now. I'll leave.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
I'm missing it though. Or do I want to go straight? Or do I want to go left? Or straight? Or left? Left it is!
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Big shiny button? No, what? No. I'll leave that there. I think it's best I continue. Let's go to the meeting room. Meetings!
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I like that. Tips to not get fired. Don't get fired. The point.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
But it's so high. I think I'll just rather run down the stairs. Let gravity do its work for me. Actually, no, I won't do that. It seems Satan's living in the basement. I'd rather take stairs than Satan any day. Ooh. What's in here? We have the executive bathroom. Cannot open. All these real fake doors. I can't believe it. Won't open. Won't open. What about this one? This one is open.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
I'm so
What he could
disbelief.
not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Oh my, a keypad. What does this do? What could possibly be the key? 284.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Maybe I missed it. Let's go 284.
28. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad,
1,
knowing
2,
full well
6,
the sheer
8,
statistical
4.
unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination.
1 in
If he knew
10,000.
that the combo was 2845, it would be another story entirely.
2,
But
8,
no,
4,
no, forgot.
8.
But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Okay, yeah. That's very lucky. That's dark. I'll go here. I don't like dark. Let's go down. Ooh. And now we're going down. Oh my, isn't this very... Ooh. Loading. Loading. Guess what game we're playing? It's the finger game. Oh, it moved. And we're
Descending
back.
deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job.
I've learned how
Why
to
did he feel
breathe.
this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Move out of the way. Shiny light. Ooh.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
But escape. Ah, mind control. Ooh, that's ominous looking. It's a big button. Do we press big buttons? Of course we do.
The lights rose on an
Oh.
enormous room packed with television screens. What
My.
horrible secret did this place hold?
Press the button
Stanley
again.
thought to himself.
Let's do it.
Did he have the strength to find out?
No. Yeah, of course I do. I'll try my best. That's probably all anyone can ask of me. Another button. Any other buttons? No. Button.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Right. This is very ominous. It's also really cool looking. Guess what the new screenshot's gonna be, lads? Yeah, you guessed it. Oh. What does this button do?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
That's kind of what you do as a player.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
I do suppose so.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working.
How do you know this?
All of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
How does
And
he
as
know
the cold
this?
reality of his past began to sink in,
Click, click.
Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Boop, boop, beep, boop, boop. Boop, beep, boop. Boop, 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 beep, boop. Ooh, bop. Aww, no bopping. I can't bop the big red one. Let's go see what's happening over here. Mind control idle. Awaiting input. Seems to have a few errors there, lads. System power on.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Off. It's dark. It's very dark. What now? It's very dark. What's going on?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes.
Ooh.
He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness.
Where the fuck
Perhaps
am I?
his goal had not been to understand, but to
What's
let
this?
go. No longer would anyone tell him
It's a
where to
Truman
go,
Show.
what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives,
Rawr.
it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
This is not a door. This is a wall.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Very, very cryptic ending. And technically, that is the end of the game. However, the end is, as they say, never loading. And we're back. Now, there are multiple ways to do this. You can play this game so many times over and over again. You know what we're going to do this time? We're going to piss off the narrator. So,
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
no.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Back in the employee lounge. Hello.
Wow.
Camera going
What
straight
but
through.
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I am not doing anything. What am I doing in here?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion. It will cause death. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, 1,000. Penalty for jumping off, 5,000. So death is equal to 5,000. Nope.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
And that is where we'll end it for now. Thank you for joining me. This has been the Stanley Parable. My name is Phil, and this has been Professional Commentary. Ta-ra!